Now, I'm not going to claim to know loads about this guy, but Mamdani has got in New York. I've been kind of trying to semi-avoid it, but it's kind of interesting. Like, you speak to some people, he's a total communist, he's a jihadi, and you speak to other people, he's just part of the sort of neoliberal thing, but just with a different spin on it, a kind of Obama kind of gloss. Maybe Obama was in some way radical, but really he just carried on playing the game with a slightly different, slightly more woke, racialized gloss. But let's have a look at what he said, because his actual speech, well, obviously we'll only watch a small part of it, but this was like, it was quite sort of old school communist. Some of the stuff he said, he referenced some old lefty, and then he said this.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name. As we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few.
Get the idea. I probably didn't need to even share that much of it, because it's basically communism. But you know, that stuff about like the calloused hands and all this, and the many and the few, it is kind of route one, full on communism. And you just sort of think, yeah, that's not going to work. But it also, I mean, there's also a sort of strange racial component to it, which we can get into. But you were going to say something.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? First thing that stood out to me there is how the left are permitted to create an enemy, to ostracize whole groups of people. In this case, under the umbrella of the wealthy and the powerful. The inherent message in there that's kind of under a thin veil is the color of their skin, often white, the white man. And there's enough plausible deniability in there for anybody who is a Mamdani supporter to say, oh, no, Paul, that's just you projecting. But I'm sure you'll discuss this in a second, so I'll let, I'll let you do that. But the other thing, of course, is he's right about a number of things, particularly Cuomo, up against... I mean, I'm not sure that he's defeated a dynasty. I mean, it's all very good. I mean, I'm not sure what dynasty he defeated. This was the left defeating the left, by the way. Don't forget that Cuomo was a Democrat candidate. I mean, he probably is someone that's a little bit too mired in sexual assault allegations, not been convicted of any, of course, and other sort of skullduggery that goes on when you're someone like Andrew Cuomo and the Cuomo brothers, and, you know, considering how long they've been involved in politics and television, etc. So
his COVID
Mamdani
wasn't good.
No, his COVID record was not good whatsoever. So he was from the left. That was left on left fire. As far as I can tell, the Republican guy was a bit of a quirk. Had absolutely no chance of winning anyway. So I'm not sure what dynasty he believes that he has defeated. However, this is 101, straight from the Marxist handbook, communism.
It does seem that way. But speaking of the race stuff, just in case anyone thinks you're nuts, listen to what he had to say here.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties, Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point, thank you to those so often forgotten.
Okay, so I just realized it started again, but I glazed over. So it says, I thought it was funny because it said race victory at the bottom, obviously mayoral race victory. And looked at it tired this morning and thought, oh yeah, it is a race victory because he's going on about all these different races. It's it's pretty clear what that's all about. It's about a kind of war of all these different groups against the sort of white majority.
There are, I can't remember how many Jews in the world entirely. I think it's 6 million. In New York City, there are 1 million Jewish people. This guy ran on an anti-Israel campaign. As so many sort of ultra-left politicians do across the UK and the US these days, they run on a pro-Gaza policy, like solving the problem in the Middle East there with Palestine and Israel is going to make anyone's life better in London or anyone's life better in New York. Of course, it's not. I mean, you can have the victory, but he talks about the disenfranchised. Arguably, there's no other group quite as disenfranchised as the Jewish people, particularly now. And they've got a 4,000-year history of being pretty disenfranchised. That's a debate for another day. But he talks about standing up for minority groups, but dismisses one type of minority because he is fundamentally and ideologically and vehemently opposed to their existence. Not them, their existence, because 90-odd% of Jewish people believe in Israel as a project. So he wants to get rid of them. There are 1 million Jews in New York. There are, interestingly, and this number is quite new, I think part of 2022, 2023 statistics. There are now 1 million plus or 1.2 million Muslims in New York City. So they've grown exponentially. He's obviously one of them. And what we've got here is this battle for the oppressed versus the oppressor. And their answer to it is to alienate everybody they disagree with. In fact, eradicate everybody they disagree with. And do it promising free bus rides.
And just so I don't get sued, those are Paul's views about Mamdani. I don't know if he believes that, but he wants to, whatever Paul said, not the views of the podcast. He's not going to sue. He's not going to watch this because it's in English.
No, but
some of the stuff you're saying, I was like, I don't know if he wants to get rid of all.
He did. Well, here's the thing. You can argue that is, like I say, there's plausible deniability, but his first intifada globalized the intifada. One of his slogans, globalize the intifada.
Good one.
So
see why that did well in New York.
Yeah. So this is something that he has said.
I'll give you another one that he said that's really, really bad while we're on it as well. I mean, this was him actually sharing. So he shared an article, I believe, by Glenn Greenwald, who's all right on some things, but I didn't know Greenwald had said this. So he shared this article. This is back in 2013, and Mamdani says important Greenwald on whether the London killing of a British soldier was terrorism. This is about Lee Rigby, horrifically murdered Lee Rigby. So Jack here says, just now finding out that NYC Mayor Mamdani once shared an article on the brutal murder of Lee Rigby, asking how can the killing of a soldier of a nation engaged in that war, horrific though it is, possibly be terrorism? I'm like, wow. I mean, wow, that is unbelievably disgusting. And he shared that. And here's just another one. So Bushra here, one of the internet's main provocateurs, annoying morons, says a Muslim has just taken New York. Mamdani wins, get effed MAGA. And what does MAGA really mean there? Well, Carl here says Bushra is fighting a war against white people. I mean, that's certainly one view. It's kind of what it means. We know all this stuff. There are human rights, as the great David Starkey says, now just means rights of minorities against the majority. And that's kind of what the Mamdani represents. It's race communism. It's communism. The communism is actually definitely still there. It's not that it's displaced. You know, sometimes people talk about gay race communism and it's wokeness, which is sort of displaced communism. Mamdani seems like this thing now, like, we'll keep the old school bit, we'll bring that back, the old school, blame the rich. Polanski does it in this country, but we'll throw the race stuff in there as well.
What's going to be very interesting is to see in 2 to 4 years' time whether New Yorkers believe that their life has improved vastly, because they are now the establishment. They are now the authority. They're the one making a lot of the decisions. Now, it's politically difficult to make all the decisions in New York City because you've got a New York State governor, and then of course you've got the president of the United States, which is the ultimate power in the United States. So there are a number of things in his way, but he will be able to deliver, if he wants to, these state-led shops that essentially give out free food. He will be able to control rents. I think it's going to be difficult for him to control some of the transport stuff because there's a statewide transport authority, and he basically wants to banish billionaires from New York. But that's going to be tricky as well because there's a state governor who, whilst is a Democrat, also understands that billionaires are very good for the local economy. What's not good for the local economy is free rent, free food, and free buses. That level of communism and socialism has to be paid for by capitalism. And guess who's winning the capitalism race? Billionaires. So you're going to need their money. If they all skedaddle to Austin in Texas, then you are not going to have their money. You're then going to be taxing people that don't earn, that are living off free stuff. Because why would you go and earn if you can get free food and free transport and free accommodation? There's nothing left to live. There's nothing worth to work for. Yeah. So ultimately, you're going to take away the source that's going to fund your communism, and then you're still going to fund it. Look, it's overly idealistic. We all know this.
And someone who agreed with this was 50 Cent. And 50 Cent posted this on his, if you're not familiar, the popular rapper 50 Cent, posted on his Instagram, RIP NYC, founded 1624, died 2025. Obviously, he's a big business guy, 50 Cent, as well as his rap career. And apparently, Mamdani supporters are now calling for 50 Cent's music to be removed from streaming platforms, accusing him of Islamophobia, or because he said RIP MIC. Just in case you think it's just about white people, there's all kinds of groups that can war with each other. As soon as you attack a Muslim, even if you're 50 Cent, you think, oh, black rapper kind of loved by lots on the left. But no, he put up this one thing, so that's it for take 50 off Spotify.
Well, I find it fascinating. I think I saw a Vox Pops this week. I can't remember who it was with. It wasn't GB or anyone like that. I don't think it might be an American outlet, but they were interviewing people in Manhattan, and were asking whether bail as in being bailed out of jail, was racist. And everybody in Manhattan, irrespective of where they came from, absolutely, totally racist. All vast majority of them white, of course, because of where they were. They then just went across one of the bridges into one of the boroughs where it's predominantly a black community, and they're all like, "No, what are you talking about? Bail applies to everybody." And I think that's what you see in these votings. What you've got is a bunch of overly privileged white middle class people who feel inherently guilty about their privilege. And then you've got some genuinely underprivileged minorities who are striving for a better life. And these two things come together. And they constantly feed each other. That's all they do. They just constantly. It's this microcosm of humanity that is symbiotic and just continues to feed itself, and is not solving any of the problems whatsoever because they've created a false oppressor. You then go and talk to the people more often than not that they're trying to. They're working on behalf of, and they go, we don't see the problem.
And they're sensible. Yeah, there's a big trend of liberal white women voting for the things that will basically put them in danger. And you see, what was the original tweet she was replying to? This was a famous one. The post on it. Oh, no, do not vote for Mamdani. And this woman just says, and of course, big picture of her face, it's really just about her. And she says, too bad I did today. And this is where I got some people wound up because I wrote, taking the vote off women is an urgent priority.
Some classic Dixon.
That one annoyed Larry the cat. I was like, surely a satirical fake cat can understand a bit of satire there, Larry. And I said, although it is one of those pieces of satire that also happens to be sound policy. I mean, it's win-win. Take the vote for. I mean, but you do see this again and again. There's loads of these pictures. It's not just that one. There's loads of pictures of women saying, "Oh, I voted Mamdani." It's like, okay, yeah, well, you voted for bad things for yourself and your society. So
this is what will happen, right? In 2 to 4 years' time, and inevitably nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Okay.
Well, things will have got worse.
Yeah. Okay. They wouldn't have got better. That's for sure. They'll then have to pivot to blame somebody else because it'll be that Mamdani's been beaten by the white man. It's just been held back at every turn.
They'll blame Paul Cox.
They'll blame me. They'll blame me and my raga chums.